Sorry, you've caught me in the middle of my intermission meal. Well, I could start with an appetizer. I'm sure that many of the adults, and maybe even some teens in the room, may remember when their parents would host a dinner party. Their friends would arrive, all dressed up, perhaps some nice music from the narrow passage played in the background, and they ate cool food and discussed interesting things. I spent much of my childhood both being regaled by my grandparents' stories of the fun dinners they had living all over the world, and attending my own parents' parties with their friends and sitting quietly, listening to them discuss the most fascinating topics. As I grew up, there was nothing I wanted more than to host my own. I mean, dinner parties have been a thing since forever, right? From feudal Asia to ancient Africa to the Americas, ancient Roman Greece, and medieval Europe, gathering to share a meal and the art of conversation has always been the thing to do, so to speak. However, within the last 25 years, the dinner party has been dying, albeit for many reasons. First, of course, the rise of women joining the workforce left a large gap in dinner parties, as many were often hosted by housewives. Additionally, there has been a rise in commercialized meals such as TV or microwave dinners, also leaving a large gap in cooking ability for many young adults, creating a big barrier to hosting a dinner party. And of course, advances in technology and social media have meant that many simply see the humble dinner party as no longer a necessity to their social life. I believe, though, that the dinner party should once again be a staple of the young generation's mingling. So, as a self-described dinner party connoisseur, I have a few thoughts. Let's move on to our soup and salad course, the prep and the guest list. First, you should decide on your food. What are you interested in cooking? Mexican, Japanese, Peruvian, a fusion? Figuring out your menu ahead of time instead of while you shop gives a coherent flow for the meal and sets the tone of how much you will be serving or eating and how many courses you plan on having. Additionally, planning out a meal allows you to be cognizant of the allergies and dietary restrictions of your guests. I promise nobody wants to sit and watch everyone eat without them. Now that you've decided on your food, you should figure out how to time it. How long will it take to cook each dish? What can you prep beforehand? What time should each course come out? One of my favorite ways to make sure the timing on my meal is correct is by using the mise en place method, where you prep all ingredients beforehand so that you can easily cook everything much quicker by just being able to add it into the pan. You should also plan for your cooking to be done about 20 to 30 minutes after your guests arrive to allow everyone to settle in. For your guest list, you must decide who you want to invite wisely. The idea is for the dinner party to be as interesting and as fun for everybody as possible. Invite introverts and extroverts, and if you know two people don't like each other, either don't invite both or seat them far away, because seating is so important. Follow the Goldilocks rule. Not too hot, not too cold, but just right. Seat people next to people you know they will talk to, but don't sit two people together who will only talk to each other the whole time if given the chance. Furthermore, you are not required to invite a significant other or a spouse. If it is girls or boys only, that is fine. If it is no plus ones, that's fine. It isn't a wedding or a prom. Your guests don't need a date. The dinner can be as intimate as you'd like. Now it's time for our main course, the meat and potatoes, if you will, of the dinner party, food and fellowship. Now this goes without saying, I hope, but just in case, I implore you to not try a recipe for the very first time the day you cook your meal. If you're trying a new recipe, please make it a while beforehand in case it needs troubleshooting. The most important part of the meal, though, is not the food, but the fellowship shared during the meal. Conversation is a vital part of the dinner party. I love to talk to my guests about things such as good literature they've read recently, aspirations they have, or an exciting thing that's happened to them. But that is because I find such things fascinating. The conversation ultimately depends on the people that you break bread with. However, I must say, there are 3 topics that will absolutely make a dinner party bite the dust. Known to me as the terrible, odious PVG, politics, vulgarities, and gossip. Never discuss politics unless you know for sure everyone agrees or can be respectful. Do not share vulgarities. I promise nobody wants to hear about the wisdom teeth surgery you had removed last month or your bronchitis. And finally, do not gossip. It will spread, the person will know, and it never ends well. And besides, that's another person you can't invite to your dinner party. But in all seriousness, some of my fondest memories of dinner parties are when the great cultural zeitgeist was discussed. If you're unsure, stick to that. Now, let's have some dessert, shall we? Let's discuss having fun hosting. A dinner party can truly be as extravagant or as basic as you want. Some of my favorite premises include a meal where local, seasonal ingredients are the star of the show, which is often best executed in summer, of course. A meal with a new, different, foreign, or experimental cooking technique like teppanyaki, sous vide, or smoking. A meal with a theme like dressing up fancy, or a fun pun like a teeny bit older, a martini-themed meal. I know, very creative. A novelty dish like baked brie or sourdough with a butter candle. And finally, my favorite, signature mocktails. Me and my friends love a good mocktail. Now, I'll leave you with my signature espresso for the road. I hope you see why I think and why you should think that the dinner party should be brought back to popularity in present times. Us teenagers have already had so many third spaces taken away from us, like roller rinks, malls, and movie theaters. It has been shown time and time again that a space between home and school is so important for us, yet we have so few. But beautifully, the dinner party can fill that gap. Dinner parties are valuable, fun events to hang out with your friends that don't have to involve alcohol or spending insane amounts of money. So therefore, let us go back to what we thought of before about dinner parties, that they are annoying, time-consuming, boring, stressful, or unnecessary. And instead, let us reframe them in our minds as, this is a fun way to hang out with my friends. I find that cooking can be meditative. My people will come as they are, and this is time that I will enjoy. Thank you, and back to my meal.